Hi, my name is Shaoyang. My name is Shaoyang Fan. I'm the last year PhD student at the University of Queensland. And in the presentation today, I would like to talk my previous published paper, Socio-Economic Diversity in Human Annotation. So with the rise of the social media, people create a huge amount of the digital content every day on the internet. Annotations are the keywords that connect people with those digital content and are essential for the search algorithm and the recommendation systems. So annotation can be used to index the multimedia data, and the feature taken from annotations can also be used to rank search results and improve the performance of the recommendation systems. So normally, there are like 4 ways to get the annotations. The first one is people get annotation from expert, but the expert annotation is limited by the cost and scalability. And also some research found the understanding from the expert is different with normal people. And another popular method is using the machine learning to get annotation from the reduce. But the drawback of the machine learning is limited by the type. Normally, machine learning can only tag the object or actions in the redo. And another popular method is social annotation. Like for example, when people submit their digital content, they can add some a keyword or hashtag word to that content and to improve the reduce. And however, the quality of the social annotation cannot be guaranteed. For example, some people will use some clickbait word to attract the viewers. And in fact, annotations can be obtained from the crowdsourcing platform. And I believe the crowdsourcing annotation can solve the problem I mentioned earlier and improve by employing the correct quality control method, we can get a quality annotations in a short of the times. So before I start, I want to talk about a short story from India. So the 3 blind men try to touch elephant to understand how the elephant look like. The one blind man touched the elephant's trunk, and he thinks the elephant is like a think snake. And another blind man touched the elephant's body, and he said the elephant is like a wall. And another blind man touched his tail and claimed the elephant was like a rope. All of them are right, but all of them are incorrect because they lack the big picture. The same thing can be happen to the crowd worker. When they do the microtask crowdsourcing, they can only see the part of the radio or part of the digital content. So which means their diversity will be in fact. So and therefore, in my first 2 questions, research question is about diversity of the annotations. So, and the first research question is what radio features are highlighted by the crowd worker, and is there any? The second question is there any correlations between the annotation behavior, their background information, and the radio content, and the type of the annotation they provide? And on the other hand, the annotation provided by the worker can also show how they describe and think about digital content, which means they have a chance to project their bias into their annotations. So currently, there are some studies studying the bias from the crowdsourced annotation, for example, the race or the gender. However, there's still a missing study from the perspective of the socio-economic status. So my last 2 research question is, how are the crowd workers' bias and are reflected in their annotations? And can we observe any bias from their post-survey questions or post-task questions? And in order to answer those research questions, I create a platform and on the mTurk by employing the APIs from mTurk. And the first step is all the workers are recruited from mTurk, and then they are redirected into my platform, and they do their annotations. then we run some quality control method, and we will find the radios receive the bad quality, and publish that radio into the platform and recruit more people from that network. And for the task design, there are 3 steps. The first step is about the survey question. We ask the crowd worker to answer a question like their gender, their age, and their education level and their family income. Then they have to watch 4 short videos and provide 8 annotations for each one. After providing annotations, we ask them to answer 4 more questions. The first question, we want to ask the crowd worker to identify where the radio was taken and which SES level do you think that person belonged to, and also ask them whether or not this radio is suitable as a result of the Google radio research on the hand washing and or on a health announcement. And all of our radio are from the Dollar Street. A Dollar Street is a website to help people to watch hundreds of the radios and the photos around the world, all the from the different family around the world, and they place the families on an income street. The rich people live on the right, and poor people live on the left. And we only pick the hand washing radio because it's everyday active things people will do, and then we chose the radio based on 2 variables. The first one is the region. We select the radio from Africa, Asia, Europe, and Americas, and also from 4 different income levels for each region. So in total, we got 112 short radios. And and next I will talk about the quality control method we used. First, we determine whether or not the worker play the radio, and we also check the testing time. And the test time should be longer than the length of the radio. We also check whether or not they provide random tags. And we don't reject the worker. We just, if we detect the bad worker, we will add a qualification on them. And just in case they will come back to our platform in the future, and we will republish the low quality task. And the annotation, the classification method we used is based on 2 models, the Hollink model and Panofsky-Chatwood matrix. So for the Hollink model, there should be 4 levels for the annotations. The first one is the perceptual levels, which means we ask the text to be talk about the visual features or the audio features. And another one is non-visual levels, which means is those texts should be just talk about the context of the radio rather than content. The last one, very important, is the conceptual levels. And for the conceptual levels text, we use the Panofsky-Chatwood matrix. We classify them based on the who, what, where, and when, and also use the specific, abstract, and the general. And so let's move on over result part. So our first research question is what feature of the radio are taken by the crowd worker. So we found the general who and the general what are the 2 of the most popular annotations provided by the worker, which this shows that people are more likely to give the broad description of the object and the actions on the radios. And annotations like those can help the user to find the radio and provide information about it. And those types of the annotation can also use as the pre-trained data set in machine learning to make it easier for model to find objects and actions in the radio. And the third most common type of the annotation is the abstract word, because the people use the abstract word to describe the things happen in the radio, like emotions and judgment. The abstract annotations are subjective and are about what people think. And those work will help the people to find a radio that have something in common. And many different kind of abstract annotations, for example, will show how the sentiment search could be used. And then people can also use those annotations to improve their viewing experiments to find the radio that makes them feel something in common. Also, the abstract annotations can also help people to find a word that that describe what they really feel. And in order to answer the research question 2, we created 3 hypotheses. The first, we want to know, is there any correlation between the background information and the annotation text provided by the crowd worker? And after running the test, there is no correlation between them. So then we can move to the next 2 hypotheses. The second hypothesis is like we try to find, is there any correlation between the tab and their annotation behavior? And we found very interesting things. So the first few words that the crowd work provide is more like the specific levels. And the later word the crowd work provide is more like an abstract the annotations. So what can we do from these findings? Maybe we can, based on those like a tagging behavior, we can create a different interface to encourage the worker to provide the different type of the annotations. And the third hypothesis is we try to find like the radio variance. Like I mentioned earlier, the region and income level is not correlated with the annotation types. And we found also found very interesting things. Like for example, like for the same the radio content, but the family in the radio from the different background will result totally different types of the annotations. For example, we found a high income family receive more general word annotations, and family in the America receive more abstract annotation than the Asian families. And let's move to our third research question. And we focus on the abstract word because those words can show how people like think about the things in the radio. And so we use the radar to, as our method, the tools to detect whether or not the word is positive or negative. And we found like low-income family receive more negative word, and high-income family receive more positive word. And negative word is more like show more frequently in the family in the Africa rather than in family in the in Asia. So we also try to define whether or not this bias is present in the post-task questions. And for the first 2 questions, we found like we also saw the size of the bias based on the region and income level. When the annotators face the low-income family in the radius, they make more accurate guess about their region than those with high income. And compared with other regions, the annotators are less correct in guess the family income level for the Africa's radius. And we also test how people think about those radio are suitable or not to display in the Google search result or public service announcement. We also saw some bias. And we can clearly say the family in the Europe receive much higher score than the family in the Africa. And the family from high income level also receive very higher score than the family in the low income level. Same result found by both 2 questions. And then we try to understand like we try to observe the bells by comparing the rating of the worker who guessed correctly or wrong or didn't correctly, and the worker who failed to guess the radio location give much higher score to the radio from African and a low income level, and a lower score when they guess correctly. So in addition, so the radio received the different rating across the region and income level can also be explained by the uneven representation of the different levels in the search engine and the public survey announcement. So there is a risk that the overrepresentation of the Western and high-income populations and regions in the crowd-generated annotations. And so that's something we should be worried about. So all in all, we run a controlled user study and ask a worker to provide the label on the diverse content. Our findings support the following conclusion. The most frequent used annotation type are general and abstract. The older English annotations are in turn influence their types, and the number of the radio from the specific SES correlated with the number of the distinct annotation types. We observed the regional and income level bells when performing sentiment analysis on abstract annotation and analyzing the post-annotation questions. Thank you for your time.